6:30 a.m. in the morning on a Wednesday. Today is Wednesday. It's Wednesday morning, and of course you know that there is a reason, a purpose of why I am doing this video very early in the morning. It is because I had an experience. This was a brief one. I have to get ready for work soon, but I wanted to knock this out before I left because although it was brief, it was quite interesting, quite a curious experience. So I'll tell you the details here. By the way, it is raining in Southern California right now. So in regards to background sound, I didn't have any on. In fact, I intentionally turned it off about 5:15 a.m. in the morning because I had my own storm sounds. It was natural. So I just laid there very peacefully, very quietly. And this was definitely an intentional experience, an intentional beyond body experience. I definitely was thinking about it. And in my mind, I was using this method that I've talked about before, where I imagine my two hands pushing through space to try and push through some imaginary barrier. So that's what I was doing in my mind. And of course, I had the rain and I was very relaxed. And at some point, I drifted. And then, guys, suddenly I was in that space, that in-between space, that sweet spot that I talk about so much. And I went to the left. Now, I talk about this frequently. When I've talked about the beyond body, I talk about direction a lot. I talk about going left, going right, going up, going down. These are the things that I feel when it is happening. Of course, the difference between astral projection and beyond body is that I don't feel separation from my body. It feels like I'm actually going to the left or actually going to the right, my entire body. And this time, of course, I came off my bed. And it's so interesting because I have a desk right near the head of my bed. And when I came off, I thought I hit my head on that desk, it's almost like I felt it a little bit. It was very, very strange when I went to the left. So I found myself going to the left, guys, and I went off the bed and I stopped. As always, I don't ever feel myself hit the ground. And there was very slight movement. I didn't travel that far. I didn't go a very large distance. I moved, and it wasn't very fast. I've talked about times when I've accelerated and I moved and I felt as if I was on a roller coaster. This was not a time like that. This was a very gradual, very slow movement. And it's so interesting. I was really paying attention to what I was seeing as I was moving. And it is just darkness. I mean, it's like my eyes are shut. I can see different, colors and sort of things. Nothing really defined and nothing bright. Maybe what you might see if you closed your eyes. I can just sense the movement. I can feel it as it's happening. And there are times I know when I'm moving where I'm thinking to myself, is this actually going to happen? Is the darkness actually going to lift? And am I actually going to be in another world? Of course, I never know what world I'm going to end up in. And this is always very curious to me. I'm not ever sure what the place is going to be. So eventually, the darkness did lift. And I found myself, as the scene revealed itself, I was walking in an arcade of all places. Now, arcades, I think, are outdated, to be completely honest. I mean, I grew up in the late 70s, early 80s, and arcades were the thing back then. Everybody went to arcades to play video games. Now everybody plays things on their computer. And I don't think arcades are around as much, although I do believe that there are a few arcades out there. But this was an arcade, and this was something else that I hadn't seen for a very, very long time. This arcade was filled with pinball machines. And again, I have not seen that in a while. There were two that I made note of as I was walking around, because I was looking around, and again, when I'm in these places, you are on my mind. All of you that listen to this channel that are here are on my mind, and I'm thinking to myself, what can I bring back for you in these different places that I go to? And I noticed, of course, with these pinball machines, they had different themes to them. There was one theme that I saw that had more of a sort of an old West theme to it that I checked out. Now, I don't remember the name of that particular pinball machine, but there was another one that I saw that said Moon Over Moon. And the theme for that pinball machine was a space theme. So, and it was interesting. There was a moon and there was space, and yeah, it was a pinball machine. All of these that I remember seeing that I can recall were pinball machines. Now, there may have been other video games in this arcade, but the only things I recall were the pinball machines. So after looking around, so interesting, I took a second as I was walking, by the way, before I went outside, because I did get outside, guys. I looked at myself. I think I was wearing jeans and tennis shoes, but I wasn't really able to focus. Keep in mind, during all this time, I'm thinking, my alarm's going to go off soon, so it's going to wake me up anyway because I have to get ready for work. So I'm thinking that too. I felt a little rushed in this experience. So maybe that was why it wasn't as long. But I remember looking at my arm, and on my arm there were two devices. I cannot describe those devices to you guys. I have no idea what they were. They reminded me a little bit, when I looked at them, of the old Walkmans. Now, anyone who has been around for quite some time knows what a Sony Walkman is. If you want to, you can look up or Google Sony Walkman. It's a very old thing. Again, something when I was growing up, we used to listen to these things. I guess they're kind of like sort of like iPads or miniature, the kind of devices we carry around now that, or, you know, honestly, how do we listen to things now? We listen on our phones. So this was before there were really phones to listen to music and stuff, and Walkmans were used to listen to music. And these two devices they were strapped to my arm, both of them looked to me like Walkman. That's what they looked like. Two Walkmans, two separate, but I didn't have earphones on, so they weren't Walkmans, and I'm not sure what kind of devices they were. So that was another note and another observation that I made as I was walking around through this arcade. I then moved outside, and the only thing I can tell you is I can describe this place as an industrial park, as a place where maybe you would have different corporate buildings, a place where, you know, there would be like maybe buildings all around from different companies, and people would come into this area perhaps to have lunch or to take a break, because this was more of a park feeling. There was grass. The grass was green. I remember that. It was very nice, very peaceful place. But yes, this was more of an industrial park with buildings, probably companies. And I noticed that there was a line. And now I'm not sure if this was a line for food, but these people were in line. And interestingly enough, I remember when I first came out, I got a kick out of this. When I first stepped out of the arcade, I said hi to someone, and this person said, it very enthusiastically said, "Oh, hi." And I always get a kick out of this because I'm like, I'm in another world and I'm saying hello to someone. I know it sounds like a very simple thing, but I'm like, this is very interesting. I mean, this person seemed very nice. I think it was an Asian man, but he said hi to me, and I said, hello and whatever. And then I saw this line, and there was a lady. I remember I was saying, what was I saying? I was trying to get someone's attention because, again, I knew I didn't have much time. So I started saying, excuse me, in a very polite way. And this lady looked at me, and when we made eye contact, by the way, she had short brown hair, brown eyes. She was wearing business attire, maybe a dress, looked very professional, very businesslike. She seemed to know that I was out of place, and she actually walked out of line, and I said, "What city is this?" And she took a moment before she answered me, as I recall, because I was anticipating, I was like, really like, oh my gosh, please tell me what this is, because again, I didn't know if my alarm was going to go off or not, and then I was going to be sucked back here. So this lady tells me the name of the city, and I'm not going to even try to tell you what it was. I think it starts with an M. She said something like, I can't, you know what, guys? I cannot pronounce the name that she said. There are times I can bring back the name for you. I heard her say the name. When she said it, she seemed to say it very smoothly, as if it was not a big deal for her to say that name. But I am not going to attempt it because I can't, there's no way I can't pronounce what she said. It was not pronounceable. Or unpronounceable to me. Interestingly enough, though, so after she said it, and I'm taking a moment here because I'm trying to remember, because we were walking as she said this, and she asked me, or you know what, she didn't ask me. I volunteered the fact that, I said, well, I'm from Earth. And she said, "Oh, Earth." And there was a bit of urgency in her voice after I said that I was from Earth. And I got the sense, because I don't remember all the details after that, because we were walking. I remember we were now walking through the grass. And I got the sense that this was a place where a lot of people pass through. This was sort of a part of maybe a stopover, I guess. If you were going on a trip in our world, this would be a stopover place, and a lot of people came through this place. That's the sense that I got. But there was also a sense of urgency in her voice too. It was very kind of a weird, kind of a strange conversation. It wasn't like negative or anything. It was just interesting. It was interesting the way that she spoke to me. But so yeah, not long after that, as we walked, I lost my grip on this reality. I wasn't able to talk to her for very long. The conversation didn't last that long, but then I found myself back here, and I opened my eyes, got on the computer, and that was it. Again, a very short experience, but every experience is very interesting, very unique. Thank you so much for coming on another journey with me, and until next time, take care.